Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ferris Sports Update. I'm your host, Rob Bentley, and thanks for tuning in. Got another busy show today. We'll talk Bulldog football, we'll check in with the Ferris State hockey team, and we'll have a special guest from the Ferris State women's tennis team. First up, Ferris State football with head coach Jeff Pierce. Coach, welcome to the show.
Yeah, great to be here.
Your team got back on track this past Saturday, a big 35-6 win on homecoming over Northern Michigan at Top Taggart Field. You've got to be pleased with how your team bounced back this past week.
Yeah, it was really good to see the way we responded. You know, the week before we came up short and battled right into the end to try to pull that football game out. And then this week when we stepped on the football field, it was full throttle from the very beginning. And it was nice to see, you know, our offense take the ball right down the field and execute the way they did and get the ball in the end zone. And then our defense really kicked it up a notch. You know, we challenged them over the course of the week, you know, to take that step. And they really did take that step. You know, they played dominant defense, and we held them to a little over 200 yards total offense in the ball game, and that and not letting them in the end zone. And you know, that's a great job by those guys.
I know as we go to the highlights of the game on Saturday, it was a homecoming game, a number of alumni and fans back in town at Top Taggart Field, and always great to get a win on homecoming.
Oh, no question about it. It's a lot nicer to be able to talk to all these former players and former guys that are back in town after a win than when you come up short, and we've come up short a few times in the past, but it was a great win to do that. It was a great time to do that.
Got off, obviously, the parade, tailgating going on before the game, and as you got into the football game on Saturday, your offense, first drive of the game, was able to march down the field and score, and that's got to be a nice way to start the ball game.
Yeah, it was. You know, we just had to set the tempo, and we had to come out. And Northern Michigan's a good football team, and they've struggled as of lately, you know, and we couldn't let them get on track. You know, it's a matter of trying to get out there and establishing yourself. And you know, looking at a little bit of the highlights here, Tom Snyder again had a great day for us. You know, Tom, our quarterback right there, not only throwing the ball but running the ball. And the other guy that's been Mike Ryan has done a great job. You know, every ball game, you know, he's really making things happen. And here's Tom again in our running game. You know, we do a lot of misdirection, and Tom has to have the ability to make things happen in that, and he surely does. And Damian Miller has he just barely stepped out of bounds, and he was really anxious to get into the end zone. He's been a steady player for us, maybe not getting as many catches as Mike has, but really has been a contributor. Here, you know, you watch our defense play. You know, they really ran to the football well, and, you know, we controlled the line of scrimmage. Coming up here shortly, I think you'll see a couple key interceptions that we come down. Here's a batted down football, you know, and a pass. And, you know, these guys really cranked it up a notch, and it was nice to see. You know, here breaking up a pass here, and I think coming up you'll see a couple of interceptions. You know, wind was a tremendous factor in this football game. I mean, going in one direction, I mean, you could probably kick it all the way to Grand Rapids, and going the other direction, it's hard to get it across the line of scrimmage. It was close to 40-mile-an-hour winds at times, so that was a little bit of a challenge that changed things.
That field goal by Northern Michigan cut it to 13-6, but you guys were able to come back right at the end of the first half, and a big drive to end the half results in 3 points and increase your lead to 10 points at the halftime break.
That was important, and you know, we're trying to take advantage of every time we have an opportunity to score, and you know, and our offense is such a high-pace offense. The tempo goes, and I mean, we can score in a couple minutes, you know, and this is a situation right here, I believe, you know, getting it down in there right before the half, and here's the field goal, and Victor Baudry, you know, hitting into the wind. I mean, that was a really tough. He had 2 field goals right dead into the wind, which were key for us to be able to accomplish. And here's a big interception by Antoine Windman. I mean, he went up and played that football great and made it happen. And we come up another interception by Mike Elias, one of our linebackers. You know, so you know, everything was kind of clicking. You know, our defense was really being stingy with them, and you know, offensively, you know, making things happen. Cody DeWitt, you know, one of our freshmen tight ends, making a play here, and some of the young guys making it happen. Right now, Northern's towards the end of the ball game, and they're kind of frazzled right now, and the situation there occurred, you know, with out of sync there and a safety, you know, a bad snap in this situation. But that's what you got to do, is you got to get a person out of their game, and I think we were able to do that. I mean, you know, you get some of the, especially at this time of the season, you know, some people have had their ups and downs, and you can't let a team that's a little bit down get back up, or you got a whole different issue on your hand, you know, with the competitiveness that they can bring to the table.
Tom Schneider, you mentioned, threw for 202 yards in the ball game. He also the leading rusher with 77 yards on the ground. Talk about the importance of him being able to run the football, especially with the loss of Skylar Stoker and how some of those other young backs did.
Yeah, that's so critical with our offense. Because we're so misdirectional, and everybody has to be able to contribute running the football in our offensive scheme. This week we had 9 different guys carry the football, and I believe we had 8 different guys catch passes in the game. And Tom is always going to be one of those factors that have come in, and based on the option type of look that we give, they got to be able to cover everybody in that, and that calls upon him. Losing Skylar Stoker, was a loss for us, and we've had to regroup with that and move some people around and count on some young players. And Dwayne Williams ran the ball quite well for us, and you also saw Jamal Jackson, number 27 there on the highlights. He's one of the young backs coming up in the program, and he does a nice job of the football. So as you get into the final stretch here, now you got to call on some of those young people, and hopefully their development up to this point will help us continue to click.
This week you turn your attention to Grand Valley State, the Anchor Bone Classic on Saturday night at Lubber Stadium down in Allendale, and I know a game that your team is looking forward to. Grand Valley lost 3 games earlier in the year, but seem to be back on track now as you head into this matchup.
Oh yeah, our timing might not be the best. They're back on track. They kind of stumbled earlier in the season a little bit, and they're human. And now they're back, playing good football, and we've got our hands full going down there, but we're playing very good football too, and I feel very good about it. Makes my job a little bit easier this week. I told my guys that if I had to worry about them getting up for this football program, we got real major issues. And our guys are looking forward to this, and we've got something to prove. We think we can compete with anybody, and as we've gone through the course of the season and looking at the different people and what they can bring, we're right there, and we just have to go down and relax. It'll be about as hostile environment as you can get into, and that's great. You love that kind of thing. And it's just the key thing is our young players, that they just kind of settle in and don't let that get them out of their game. Because as far as the emotional and energy level, it'll be revved to the max.
It seems like you have a more seasoned team as you head into that tough environment than maybe you had the last time you were there a few years ago.
Yeah, it's really been nice to see these guys develop, and that's the whole part of the process. If it's not done overnight, and you take a guy into your program when they're a freshman, and you watch them, get a little better and a little better at what they're doing and feel more confident in what they're doing. And that confidence is the critical part of it, especially when you get into these big football games, because it's intense. Everybody says, well, yeah, it's easy to do that, but man, when you get that intensity level cranked up, that's when that confidence and that experience really comes around.
You're at 5-2, 4-2 in the conference, and still tied for the top of the North Division lead. It's got to be nice having your goals still in front of you as you reach this point of the year.
Yeah, it's nice going into the final stretch. You still got a shot at it. We know we got our hands full. The next 4 football teams we face are all really good football teams, and it's going to be a challenge. But we take it one step at a time. It's nice to be where we're at right now, though.
Coach, thanks, and best of luck on Saturday night.
Thanks for having me.
When we come back, we'll talk Ferris State hockey with head coach Bob Daniels. Stay with us on Ferris Sports Update.